I think this is the culprit. We'll find out in 2 seconds. So the other day I ended up thinking this coil was bad because when I ohmed it out, it didn't match the service manual. So I decided to swap a coil from this bike, which was a Dyna coil, onto the FLT. And that didn't start it. And then I damaged the Dyna coil to put it back on. So it got me thinking, I know the rest of the ignition system on this bike is good. So I'll use this bike just to test if the coil from the FLT was good. If it is, then I know for certain it's a module or a sensor. So I installed the coil here and see if it starts. Well, that tells me all I need to know. Real quick. But I'm going to take it for a ride, just verify this coil is not breaking up or anything. And also because, well, I haven't gone for a ride in a few days. Yeah, I'd say the coil's good. Seems to be running fine. Good on throttle. So definitely very confident now that the ignition module is the issue. So let's see, I can get that Ultima unit in and see if I have fire and get it running again. Okay, so I've started removing the original module, which is going to require replacing the sensor too, because the whole unit's built in. But I want to save everything for down the road. You never know. I'm a saver. Things have potential. But you have to pull the wires out of the plug. And I just wanted to show it's as easy as just pushing it through. And they come out. And that's it. So that's pretty much it with the sensor. I'm going to change these. One was bent. I happen to have new ones just because I bought a pack and it came with extras when I needed them for the Fatboy. But yeah, that's pretty much it. That's the gist of removing the cam sensor. Now I'll save this. Plus, I also think it's pretty cool. It has 1384 written on it. I mean, you can't duplicate that. So we'll get this wire pulled through. And the sensor mounted, and then go about setting the timing. All right, let's get the timing plug out. I didn't wire the Ultima ignition in yet, but I figure I'll get it in time. So then I can save everyone the boring stuff, because the ignition seems pretty straightforward. Pull the plugs too while I'm at it. Would help if I had the right size. All right, correct size. Not only is this going to help turn the motor over, but you know what? I'm kind of curious. It was running. How is it running? These plugs weren't new when I put them in this bike. They came out of the Fatboy. This one's a little wet. Well, I was cranking the hell out of it too with no spark, so that doesn't help. But I don't know. I don't think necessarily horrible. All right, let's get it into high gear. All right, we're in fifth. Let's see how easy this motor. Oh, it turns over real easy. Very nice. Okay, so I got the motor on top dead center compression stroke for the front cylinder. For some reason, it didn't want to stay there. I actually had to kind of do this little contraption with a jack and a pry bar and get it into the right position. But that's done. And on the other side, while I held it there, I timed this. I didn't hook all the connections up, but after reading the instructions, all the connections are irrelevant for timing. You just needed to power it so that the light would work so you can get in the right position. So I think that's done. Now I'm going to run the rest of the wiring, leave this kind of boring stuff out, and maybe swap the coil and see if that functions and I can get this thing fired again. Easy enough coil to swap. It's right there on my coil tester. And while I have this apart, I'm going to fix the half job I did when I didn't tighten this. So it's kind of a blessing. So I'm either jumping the gun a little bit, putting this timing cover back on without actually having the rest of it wired, or I'm that confident in this will solve the problem. The cool part about documenting it is I'm gonna have proof one way or the other. So fingers crossed. Sometimes I do things that I know doesn't make sense to some people, but yes, I'm the same person who fired this thing up without really checking much and took it for a ride without seeing if it had oil in the transmission, not in the engine. And I am the same person that will torque the spark plugs. So I don't know, I'm a big fan of torquing things, especially in, you know, aluminum or any exotic metals. So okay, in and timed, timing plugs done, plugs are back in, power, coil trigger, tack wire, vacuum operated electrical switch, blue not used. We'll get this installed. Okay, it's sort of temporarily put together. Here's the original ignition module, 1284. We're actually going to learn two things in 2 seconds, I guess. If I installed everything correctly, and if the module was indeed the problem. So let's turn the fuel on. I think the enrichener's already on. Let's see. Oh! That was it. I mean, fired right up. So I have to think that that the module's installed correctly. Cool. I'm gonna let it warm up for a sec so I can flush the oil. All right, so I warmed her up a bit. Got the oil tank warm. So let's see what comes out of this thing. We hope this works. All right. I mean, not great, but the transmission had worse, so there's that, right? All right. So it was a Perform filter, HD2. All right. Well, let me get some oil in it, get it running, and start flushing some of this out. All right, it's pretty much full to the top. This is either gonna go really good or really bad. Wait till like fresh fluid's coming out of there, and yeah, then spin on the filter, top it off, and it should be good. Sometimes I'm glad I'm the type that just can't leave well enough alone. I'm not gonna button the bike up because I still want to replace the coil. So I'll have 2 fresh coils, one on each bike, And I want to take a look at that chain. I want to actually remove the enclosure and see what's inside. But I'm very happy that my mind just kept going, and I said, let's test that coil. Let's see if we can't get it fired. Flush the oil and you know, get a few more steps closer to getting this thing on the road. Anyway, that's all for today. So thanks again for watching and for all your comments that kept me thinking and kept me, you know, is it this, is it that, how do I check this, you know, getting the transmission working. I mean, literally, I thank you so much for just keeping my mind going. So until next time, good night.